I recently had the opportunity to fly from Georgia to Arizona with several firearms, and I learned a lot in the process. So in this video, we're going to talk about what you need to know to fly with a firearm or firearms in the United States, and we're going to talk about the HQ issue case, firearms case, that I use to transport my firearms safely from Georgia to Arizona. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for trustworthy information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So like I said, I just very recently, just got back the other day actually, I flew from Georgia to Arizona to buy a Jeep from my friend John at Hog Holsters, and that's a different video. But in the process of getting ready to do so, I had to do some research to figure out what you have to do to fly with a firearm, because this is the first time I'd ever flown with a firearm. And I flew with several firearms, and it wasn't nearly as complicated and difficult as I thought it was going to be. So what I thought I'd do in this video is, first of all, I'm just going to go over real quickly what the TSA regulations are, because there's some conflicting information out there. I'm going to tell you what I found out in my absolute recent experience with it, and what you need to know, maybe about a couple other things you need to know. And then we're going to talk real quickly about this firearms case, because this is about the best bang for the buck I could find in a firearms case. And full disclosure, you may know Sportsman's Guide is a financial sponsor for the channel, and I reached out to them, and they were kind enough to send me this case, and so I could check it out and see just how well it worked. And they're also, as I said, they're also a financial sponsor of the channel, so they're sponsoring this video. So take that with a grain of salt. But before we talk about the case, let's talk about the what you need to know as far as flying with firearms, no matter what kind of case you want to use. And I got some notes here. I'm going to try to be really brief with it, though. So the first thing you need to know is there are two different kind of sets of rules, or sets of obligations you have to meet. The first is the TSA rules and regulations, and the second is going to be you need to make sure you know what your specific airline that you're flying on, what any extra requirements they have. So I flew with Delta, so we're going to talk about Delta because that's what I really know about, but you're going to want to check with your airline just to make sure. So first thing you need to know, obviously, is that you can't carry a firearm or a firearm magazine or ammunition in any carry-on bags. It has to be in a checked bag. And actually, in this particular instance, it has to be in a hard-sided, lockable case. So pistol case can be smaller. It doesn't have to be this big rifle case. This is a pretty good sized case because I want to make sure I can fit an AR in it. But it has to be a hard case, and it has to be lockable. So if it's a pistol case, for example, it's got to be a hard lockable pistol case, but you can put that in your other luggage. So as long as the pistol case itself is locked. A couple of things I want to clarify. I had a lot of people as I was looking on the internet that said that you can't use the TSA lock. The ones that the TSA agents can have keys for, and that's not accurate. According to the TSA, you can use a TSA capable lock, TSA approved lock. So you can use a lock that the other TSA agents will have a key to, but you're not required to. In fact, I don't think they really recommend that. I certainly don't recommend it. I don't want anybody else to have access to my firearms but me. So I used a regular master lock padlock that only I had the keys for. And that was not a problem. It worked just fine. So, but it has to be a lockable case. And then the only other thing, really, there's you need to check with TSA regulations, but really the only other big deal is it's got to be unloaded. Your firearm has to be unloaded. That means there can be no ammunition in the chamber. You cannot have a live magazine, a loaded magazine, inserted into any rifle or pistol, and or a revolver. You can't have any loaded cylinders in a revolver. So no ammo in the firearm. That's number one. Number two is any ammo in the case has to be secured so it's not rattling around. So it needs to be in a box. Honestly, I just put mine in the factory boxes because that's the easiest way to do it. According to the TSA, you can maybe have put them in the magazines, but the magazines got to completely encase the ammo. Just make it simple and put them in. Just use factory boxes, and that's what I did, and I didn't have any issues whatsoever. So that's a TSA deal, and I can't think of anything else that really is important. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you about my experience with Delta. Hopefully it'll be helpful to you. So first of all, and I think this actually is TSA, but you need to let your airline know that you are going to be flying with a firearm when you check in. Delta asked me to let them know when I made my reservation. So if you make a reservation, you know, online or whatever, you got to call them and let them know. A second thing, you cannot do curbside check-in. You've got to go into the airport and get in the main one of the check-in lines. So here's my experience with Delta. I went to the inside check-in, told them I had a firearm. They said okay. They give you a little form to fill out, and basically you have to acknowledge that you don't have any loaded weapons in there, and that your ammo is in boxes and whatnot. You're complying with all the TSA regulations. You sign that, and then they want you to put it in. You put it in the case. So I opened the case, put it in the case, and locked the case. And then we checked our bags, checked everything else in, and I had to take this case over to the security office, which in Atlanta Airport was about 30 seconds away. And I guess they could have asked me to open the case and look at it, but they didn't. They just asked me if there was any loaded, if everything was unloaded. I said yes, it's unloaded. They took it, put it on a little conveyor belt, went through the x-ray, and they said, you're good to go. So once I had signed the paper, and nobody ever once checked to see if I had an unloaded rifle in here or any loaded guns at all, if my ammo was properly packaged, any of that. They just signed the paper, and it was all good. Now, your mileage may vary. They certainly have the right to ask you to open it up and look in there. But again, I'm the only one that had the key. One more thing about Delta is you can only have 11 pounds of ammunition, and they've got some limits on the number of firearms. Again, check with your individual carrier. I think it was like either 4 rifles or 5 handguns or a combination thereof. So anyway, that's how simple it was. It really was no big deal. When I got to Arizona, to Phoenix, I just had to go to the special baggage office and claim it, and there it is. I showed my ID, and they gave it to me. So not a big deal. So, but what did they give me? They gave me this, and I'm gonna back you up a little bit and drop you down, and I'll show you, the details of this case from Sportsman's Guide, because it served me honestly very, very well, and I have no complaints about it whatsoever. And it was about half price of the next level of cases I could find. Can you see me now? Okay, so this again is the HQ issue rifle and bow case from Sportsman's Guide. And the price on this, for member price, is $129.99. Let me just show you this case. We'll talk about the specs of it and show you how it works and wrap this thing up. First of all, I put a bunch of stickers on here because why not? And one thing I want to show you also, I wrote my name on it and I wrote my phone number up here when I've got it taped over right now for the video, because I don't really need any more. I don't need any more junk calls. Let's turn this thing around for you and show you the case itself. So, first of all, you'll notice it's got 6 of these clasps, and these are like locking clasps, which are pretty nice. I've seen some cases that only have even some higher price cases that have more like friction clasps. These actually are hinged locking clasps. And then you open it up. One more thing, there's 4 of these lock points here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll tell you this, a little hint. You're going to need to buy long shank locks, because this plastic is pretty thick here, and a regular little master lock, I tried a regular lock, it will not work. You got to have a little bit of the long shank locks, let me just show you, like these right here. So the ones with the longer shank. So there you go. And I'm back home. I've got it empty now, so I'll cut in the footage of when I was doing this. But what it has this pick and pull, I don't know if they call it that. It's customizable foam interior. So this is the smallest parts you can take out. So like a little, maybe a 1/2-inch squares. The top of it is eggshell, and it's about 1.5 inches thick, 1.25 inches thick. This layer is about 2 inches thick. There's another layer underneath there that's the same customizable foam, about 2 inches thick. And then at the bottom, there's about a 1/2-inch layer of just foam. So what I did was I took the, my AR fit right here, and you'll see in the picture here that you can see I'm gonna cut in. I just did one layer there, so I got really good protection there and good protection here. And then the only place I really had to go down 2 layers, I went down 2 layers for my Glock magazines, some boxes of ammo here, and some boxes of ammo over here. And then I went 2 layers down here just for some different things here. So, and what I did, I used a chalk pen to outline my my firearm, what I was going to put in here, so I could pull the pieces out. Because I just thought that was the simplest thing to do. It doesn't look quite as pretty because they're not all nice and shiny black, but it worked just fine. I'm going to say it took me, you know, maybe 30 or 45 minutes to once I got everything kind of laid out how I wanted to customize it. It was really simple to do. Any more features need to talk about? So there's 4 hinges on here. So, and then this thing is waterproof. It has like a, we'll call this the tongue and this the groove here. But in the groove, it's got an O-ring seal, rubber seal here. So when you close it, this seals up in there and it's waterproof. It also has a manual pressure equalization valve. And what that's for is, if you're on the ground, no matter where you're at, you can have a lot more air pressure than you will have at 35,000 feet in an airplane in an unpressurized cargo hold. Now, I don't know if cargo holds are unpressurized or not, but I think they might be. But that allows the pressure to equalize inside here so that you don't wind up blowing seals out and stuff. Then it's got a handle here. It handles here and here, but it's also got wheels on one end. So it's really easy to wheel through the airport. The exterior dimensions are 45 inches by 20 inches by 8 inches. And the interior dimensions, because it's not very thick, the walls aren't very thick, are going to be 44 inches by 18 inches by 6 inches. The other thing is this thing is 22 pounds empty. So anyway, there you go. That is the HQ issue rifle and bow carry case from Sportsman's Guide. Chuck Norris can do the Cracker Barrel golf tee game and leave no tees. Okay, so that's hopefully some information that'll be helpful to you if you are planning on flying with a firearm, and maybe some information that'll be helpful to you if you're looking for a case to do so. I got to be honest with you, I was a little bit skeptical at first about trusting my firearms to a $130 case when almost all the other cases from the other brands were like double that. Even though Sportsman's Guide was willing to send me this one at no cost so I could check it out and test it, still, it's my firearms I'm trusting to it, right? I don't want to, they cost a lot more than $130, right? But I decided, you know what, I've got good experience with Sportsman's Guide, so I thought I would check it out and I would trust them. And I got to be honest with you, I am absolutely 100% satisfied with this. It just did a great job. No issues whatsoever. And I think for the money, it's really a great case. For any money, it's a great case. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't, as we say in Georgia, and it does. So that's the Sportsman's Guide rifle and bow case. So anyway, $126 on Sportsman's Guide for members, and you save $20 on any order $100 or more by using the coupon code SURVIVAL20. So that'll put this one at about a third the cost of many of the other cases, especially this large of a case. So anyway, thanks again to the folks at Sportsman's Guide for sending me this so I could check it out and test it and show it to you. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. I really appreciate the support. Once again, my name's Brian. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.